Corn was wrong tonight. Deputy Marcus Cole noticed at the moment he turned off County Road 9 onto the long gravel drive leading to the Price farmhouse. His headlights carved through the darkness, illuminating the stalks on either side, and they were all bent the same direction, every single one, leaning toward the house like thousands of withered fingers, pointing at something they wanted him to see. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. I'm on scene at the Price residence. What exactly did the caller report?" The radio crackled. Static. More static than usual for this stretch of road. Unit 7? Caller reported lights, field, daughter won't. The transmission dissolved into white noise. Marcus smacked the radio against his palm. Nothing. He checked his cell phone. No signal. Not unusual out here in the dead zone between Hawkins County and the Nebraska state line, but the timing made his skin prickle. He killed the engine and stepped out into the night. The silence hit him first. No crickets, no wind, no distant highway hum, just absolute oppressive stillness. The kind of quiet that felt less like an absence of sound and more like something actively suppressing it, like the world was holding its breath. The Price farmhouse sat 100 yards ahead, a two-story Victorian that had seen better decades. A single light burned in an upstairs window. The girls' room, he guessed. Everything else was dark. Marcus unsnapped his holster, not drawing his weapon, not yet, but wanting to feel the Glock's weight against his hip. 23 years on the job, 12 of them in Chicago before the divorce drove him out here to the middle of nowhere. He'd seen gangbangers, meth heads, domestic disputes that ended with bodies on linoleum floors. None of that prepared him for how wrong this felt. He walked toward the house, gravel crunching under his boots. The sound seemed obscenely loud in the silence. He glanced left at the cornfield and stopped. There was a path through the stalks, not a natural gap. The corn had been pressed down in a perfect line, creating a corridor that stretched into the darkness. The bent stalks glistened with something wet. Dew, probably. Had to be dew. Marcus pulled his flashlight and aimed it down the path. The beam traveled maybe 30 feet before the darkness swallowed it completely. That shouldn't happen. His maglite could cut through 200 feet of midnight easy. Something moved at the edge of the light's reach. Tall, thin, wrong proportions. Then it was gone, if it had been there at all. "Hello?" His voice came out steadier than he felt. "Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. Anyone out there?" The corn didn't answer. He turned back toward the house and nearly collided with a woman standing directly behind him. "Jesus Christ! You have to help her." Sarah Price's face was gaunt, her eyes red-rimmed and wild. She wore nurse's scrubs, the kind with cartoon animals on them. There was something dark smeared on her collar. "Please, she won't wake up. I came home and she won't wake up, and there's something outside her window. I saw it! "Ma'am, slow down." Marcus gripped her shoulders, feeling her trembling through the thin fabric. "What do you mean she won't wake up?" "Emma, my daughter. She's breathing, but her eyes are open and she won't respond. And there's..." Sarah's voice cracked. "There's marks on her, new ones. I was at work. I was only gone 6 hours. I thought she'd be okay. She's 9. She knows to keep the doors locked." "What kind of marks?" She just shook her head, tears cutting tracks through her exhausted face. "You have to see. You won't believe me if I tell you. Nobody believes me. They think I'm hurting her. CPS came last month, but I would never." Okay. Marcus guided her toward the porch steps. "Let's go inside. Show me." The front door was standing open. He hadn't noticed that before. The darkness beyond was absolute. "Mrs. Price, did you leave this door open?" She stared at it. The trembling got worse. "No," she whispered. "No, I know I closed it. I always close it. They told me to always..." "Who told you?" But Sarah was already pushing past him, running into the dark house, screaming her daughter's name. Marcus drew his weapon and followed. The stairs creaked under my weight as I climbed toward that single burning light. Sarah had disappeared ahead of me, her footsteps echoing somewhere above. The house smelled old, dust, mildew, and something else, something faintly chemical, like ozone before a lightning strike. The hallway at the top was lined with drawings, crayon on construction paper, taped to the walls in overlapping layers. Marcus swept his flashlight across them as he moved toward the lit doorway. His feet stopped moving before his brain realized why. The drawings were all the same subject, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. A tall, gray figure with enormous black eyes, standing in a cornfield, standing at a window, standing at the foot of a small shape where a child lay sleeping. In every single picture, the figure had one long finger extended toward the child. "Deputy?" Sarah's voice drifted from the bedroom. It sounded hollow, broken. Marcus stepped into the doorway and felt his understanding of the world begin to crack. The girl, Emma, lay perfectly still on her small bed, arms at her sides, eyes wide open and staring at the ceiling. completely unblinking. Her chest rose and fell in a rhythm too slow to be natural. But that wasn't what made Marcus's blood turn to ice water. It was the window. The glass was covered with condensation from the inside, like breath on a cold day, and pressed against it from the outside, perfectly silhouetted by the moonlight beyond, was a handprint. It had 4 fingers, each one at least 8 inches long. As Marcus stared, the condensation began to fade from the edges inward, as if something on the other side was drawing back into the darkness. But just before the last of the fog evaporated, new condensation bloomed at the bottom of the glass. Something was breathing on the window from outside.
Marcus moved before his brain caught up with his body. He crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed the curtain, and yanked it shut. His heart was slamming against his ribs like a trapped animal. Behind him, Sarah let out a small, wounded sound. "What are you doing? We have to see—" "No!" The word came out harder than he intended. "No, we don't. Not yet." He turned back to the girl on the bed. Emma Price, 9 years old, eyes open, pupils dilated to the point where barely any iris was visible. Those eyes tracked nothing, responded to nothing. When Marcus waved his hand in front of her face, she didn't blink. But she was breathing, slow, rhythmic, like a machine. How long has she been like this? Sarah clutched herself, fingers digging into her own arms. "I got home 20 minutes ago, maybe 30. I called 911 right away, but the phones kept cutting out. I tried 3 times before the call went through." Marcus knelt beside the bed and gently lifted Emma's wrist. Her pulse was there, but faint, maybe 40 beats per minute, way too slow for a child. "You mentioned marks." Sarah's face crumpled. She moved to the bed and carefully lifted the sleeve of Emma's pajama top. Marcus had seen a lot of things in 23 years. Knife wounds, bullet holes, the aftermath of a meth lab explosion that turned a man's face into something resembling melted candle wax. This was different. A pattern of small circular marks dotted Emma's inner forearm. Each one was roughly the size of a pencil eraser, perfectly round, arranged in clusters of 3. The skin around them wasn't bruised or inflamed. Instead, it looked almost healed, like scars from wounds that should have taken weeks to close. "These are fresh?" Marcus asked. "They weren't there this morning. I checked this morning. I always check now." Sarah's voice broke. "They started appearing 3 weeks ago. First on her arms, then her neck, then—" She couldn't finish. "Have you taken her to a doctor?" 4 times. They can't explain it. Blood work comes back normal, no infection, no trauma pattern they recognize. The 3rd doctor suggested she laughed bitterly, that I was doing it to her, for attention. Munchausen by proxy, they called it. Child Protective Services opened a case. Marcus studied the marks again. They weren't random. The clusters formed lines, almost like measurements, like someone had been marking specific points on the girl's body, cataloging her. "Mrs. Price, I need you to tell me about the lights." "He'll think I'm crazy." "Lady, there's a handprint on your daughter's window that shouldn't physically exist. I'm past crazy. Talk to me." Sarah sank onto the edge of Emma's bed, one hand automatically finding her daughter's hair, stroking it with the desperate tenderness of a mother who felt her child slipping away. 3 weeks ago, that's when it started. Emma woke up screaming about the gray man at her window. I thought it was night terrors. Kids get those, right? She didn't wait for an answer. But then I saw the lights, blue lights out in the corn. Not headlights, not flashlights, something cold. They pulse like a heartbeat. How often? Every night, every single night, between midnight and 3. They come from the east field past the old Brennan line. Sometimes they hover, sometimes they move, and sometimes— Sarah's hand stopped stroking. Sometimes they come right up to the house. Marcus checked his watch, 11:47 p.m. The lights started after the marks? The same night. I found the first ones on her left arm the morning after. Emma said she didn't remember anything, just the gray man at the window, watching her. She said he talks to her, but not with words. He talks inside her head. A chill walked up Marcus's spine on spider legs. Has anyone else seen these lights? I called the sheriff's department 6 times. They sent someone out twice, but the lights never show when anyone else is here. It's like they know. Sarah met his eyes, and he saw something there that went beyond exhaustion, beyond fear. It was the look of someone who had accepted that the world was not what she thought it was. They're smart, Deputy, smarter than us, and they want my daughter. I don't know why, but they want her. and I can't stop them, and nobody believes me." "I believe you." The words surprised him as much as they surprised her. Sarah stared at him. "You do?" "I saw something in that cornfield on my way in, and I've been a cop long enough to know when someone's lying to me." He stood up. "Your daughter needs medical attention. I'm going to call for an ambulance and backup." "The phones don't work when they're close." "Then I'll use my radio. Dispatch, this is Unit 7, requesting medical assistance and backup at the Price residence. We have a juvenile female, unresponsive, possible static." Nothing but static. He tried again. Same result. He moved to the window, staying to the side, and pulled the curtain back just enough to see outside. The cornfield was dark. His patrol car sat alone in the gravel drive, headlights still cutting through the night. Everything looked normal. Then he noticed the corn. It had moved. When he'd arrived, the stalks had been bent toward the house. Now they were bent away from it, every single one, as if something massive had passed through the field, pushing them outward in a radio pattern. Something that was now between him and his car. "Mrs. Price, is there another vehicle on the property?" "My car's at the hospital. I got a ride home from a coworker because my shift ended early." "Why?" "Because we need to leave, right now." "I can't move her. Last time I tried to move her when she's like this, she—" Sarah stopped. "She what?" "She stopped breathing for almost a minute. It was like something was holding on to her. And when I put her back, she started again." Marcus looked at the girl on the bed, at her empty, staring eyes, at the marks on her arm. He thought about the handprint on the window, the thing in the corn, the drawings in the hallway. Has anyone else experienced this? Anything like this? "There's a man. He lives about 2 miles east. Dr. Voss. He came to the house last week. He said he'd been monitoring the lights. He said—" She hesitated. "They've been coming to this area for decades. That they took people before. That they'd come back." "Where can I find him?" "He gave me a card. It's downstairs on the kitchen counter." Marcus headed for the door, then stopped. He couldn't leave them alone up here. Not with that window. Not with whatever's outside. "Come with me, both of you." "I told you I can't move her." The lights in the house went out. All of them, simultaneously. The lamp beside Emma's bed, the hallway light, everything. Sarah screamed. Marcus's flashlight snapped on, cutting a beam through the sudden darkness. He swept it across the room. Bed, dresser, closet, window. The curtain was open. He hadn't touched it. Sarah hadn't moved. The curtain was wide open, and the window beyond was no longer covered in condensation. It was covered in handprints, dozens of them, overlapping, all with 4 long fingers. And beyond the glass, in the darkness outside, Marcus saw a face. Gray skin stretched over a skull that was too large, too elongated. Enormous eyes like liquid black, reflecting his flashlight beam back at him without a single glint of moisture or life. A small slit of mouth, no nose, no expression, just those eyes, watching, studying, waiting. The thing tilted its head, a slow mechanical movement, like a mantis observing prey, and raised one impossibly long finger toward the glass. It pointed at the girl on the bed. Then the flashlight died, and in the darkness, Marcus heard the window begin to open.
Emma's body went limp, her eyes rolled back, and she started breathing again, that same slow, mechanical rhythm. Whatever had spoken through her was gone. Sarah stood frozen, her daughter in her arms, tears streaming silently down her face. "Move!" Marcus grabbed her elbow. "We move now!" They ran, down the stairs, through the dark house, out the front door into the night. The gravel bit into Marcus's boots as he sprinted toward his patrol car. His keys were already in his hand. He'd get them in the car, floor it to this Voss character, and figure out what the hell was happening to this girl. He was 10 feet from the cruiser when the headlights exploded. Both of them, simultaneously. Glass showered the gravel like glittering rain. Marcus skidded to a stop. The car's hood was crumpled inward, as if something massive had landed on it. The windshield was a spiderweb of cracks, and sitting on the roof, legs dangling over the driver's side door, was one of them. It tilted its head at Marcus with that insectal curiosity. Then it raised one long finger and pointed past him, at Sarah, at Emma. "Back inside," Marcus said. "Now." They retreated. The thing on the car didn't follow. It just watched, that finger still extended, as they stumbled back through the front door and slammed it behind them. "The back door," Sarah panted. "There's a path through the east field. If we can get to the tree line." "They're in the fields."
Then we're trapped. Marcus's mind raced. His car was destroyed. His radio was dead. His phone was dead. They were miles from the nearest neighbor, and the things outside could apparently disable anything electronic at will. But they hadn't come inside, not through the door anyway. They'd used the window, and they'd left when they were done. Why didn't they take her? He said aloud. What? They were right there. They had her floating in the air. Why didn't they just take her and leave? Sarah shook her head. I don't know. Dr. Voss said something about timing, about the stars needing to align, or I thought he was being metaphorical. 3 a.m. You said they're strongest at 3 a.m. That's when the barrier is thinnest, when they can fully manifest. Before that, they're limited. Marcus looked at Emma, unconscious in her mother's arms. Limited. They were limited. They could observe, manipulate, prepare, but they couldn't take her. Not yet. Then we survive until dawn. A sound from the back of the house. Glass breaking. Marcus drew his weapon. Useless or not, it was all he had. Get upstairs. Barricade yourselves in her room. What are you gonna do? Buy you time. Sarah didn't argue. She ran for the stairs. Emma clutched to her chest. Marcus moved toward the kitchen. The back door was still intact, but the window above the sink was shattered. Cold air poured through the gap. On the counter, amid the scattered glass, something had been placed. A photograph. Marcus picked it up with trembling fingers. It showed a woman, young, dark-haired, with Sarah's eyes. She was lying on a metal table in a room that was too bright and too sterile to be anywhere on Earth. Her belly was swollen with pregnancy. Her face was frozen in an expression of absolute terror. On the back, someone had written a date, March 15th, 1989. Sarah's birthday was December 1989. He'd seen it on the mailbox when he pulled up. Sarah Price, born December 3rd, 1989. 9 months after March. Jesus Christ. A noise behind him. Marcus spun. Deputy Jane Reyes stood in the kitchen doorway. Reyes? Relief flooded through him. How did you... The dispatch lost contact with you 40 minutes ago. I was already in the area. She stepped closer, her uniform pristine, her expression calm. What's the situation, Marcus? The situation is we're neck-deep in something that shouldn't exist. There are things out there. They're after the girl. We need backup, evac, military. Hell, I don't know what we need, but we need it now. Reyes nodded slowly. Show me the girl. Something about her voice was wrong. Too flat, too measured. Where's your car? Parked up the road. The radio work? I didn't try it. Marcus's grip tightened on his Glock. Reyes, what's your badge number? She stared at him, her head tilted slightly to the left, that same insectal tilt. It doesn't matter right now, Marcus. She smiled. It was the wrongest thing he'd ever seen. Too wide, too many teeth, the corners of her mouth extending just a millimeter past where human mouths were supposed to end. They want you to understand, Reyes said. Not Reyes, the thing wearing her face. They've been patient, so patient. Generations of cultivation. The bloodline is ready. The girl is ready. And when the hour comes, she'll join them willingly. Like hell she will. You can't stop evolution, Marcus. This is what humanity was always meant to become. We're just accelerating the process. Marcus raised his weapon. What did you do with Reyes? She's serving a higher purpose now. Her biological material was useful for the construction. The thing gestured at its body. They needed a familiar face to get close, someone you'd trust. I don't trust anyone right now. Smart, but irrelevant. It moved. One moment it was standing 6 feet away. The next it was inches from his face. One hand wrapped around his throat, lifting him off the ground with strength no human body should possess. Marcus fired. 3 shots into its chest. The thing didn't flinch. Blood that was too dark and too thick oozed from the wounds, but its grip didn't loosen. They thought you might be useful too, it said conversationally. A protector, a shepherd to guide the girl through her final transition, but you're too attached to the old definitions, too limited. Black spots bloomed in Marcus's vision. They'll take her anyway. At 3 a.m. when the door opens fully, she'll walk to them herself. She won't be able to resist. The call is already in her blood. The grip tightened. Marcus's feet kicked uselessly. Any last words for the report? A gunshot. The thing's head snapped sideways. Its grip loosened just enough for Marcus to suck in a desperate breath. Another shot. Another. The creature dropped him and turned toward the doorway. Sarah stood there, Marcus's backup weapon, the .38 he kept in his ankle holster, clutched in both hands. Her face was pale but determined. "Get away from him." The creature laughed. "You can't kill what's already dead, Mrs. Price. This body is just a vessel, a puppet. Even now, your daughter is hearing the call. Can you feel it? Her blood responding to—" Sarah shot it in the face. The creature staggered back. Its features, Reyes's features, began to distort, the skin bubbling and splitting, to reveal something gray and wrong underneath. Marcus scrambled to his feet, grabbed Sarah, and ran. They made it to the stairs before the kitchen exploded. Not with fire, but with light. That same cold blue radiance he'd seen in Emma's room, but brighter now, more intense. It poured from the kitchen doorway like luminescent floodwater, chasing them up the stairs. They burst into Emma's room. The girl was standing at the window. Her eyes were open, aware, and filled with something that wasn't quite human anymore. She turned to look at her mother with a profound sadness. "They're calling me, Mommy," she said. Her voice was her own again, but distant, dreamy. "They say it's almost time to come home."
Marcus slammed the bedroom door and shoved a dresser against it. The blue light seeped through the crack at the bottom, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Emma, honey, come away from the window," Sarah's voice cracked. "I can't," the girl spoke without turning around. "They won't let me." Marcus crossed the room and grabbed Emma's shoulders. The moment he touched her, pain lanced through his skull, white-hot, blinding. Images flooded his mind. A metal table, needles, gray faces staring down, his body paralyzed, something inserted into the base of his skull. Not his memory, someone else's. A woman screaming, pregnant, being examined by those long fingers. Sarah's grandmother, he knew it somehow, felt the connection in his bones. Then another woman, Sarah's mother, the same table, the same procedure. And finally, Sarah herself, age 4, too young to remember, but her body remembered. The marks on her skin that faded within days, the implant at the base of her skull so small no X-ray would ever find it. 3 generations, refined, perfected, all leading to— Marcus released Emma and staggered backward. His nose was bleeding. "What did you see?" Sarah demanded. "Everything." He wiped his face. "They've been doing this to your family for 70 years. Your grandmother, your mother, you." "Me? They took you too. When you were 4, you don't remember because they didn't want you to remember." He pointed at the base of her skull. "There's something in there, a device. It lets them track the bloodline, monitor the genetics." Sarah's hand flew to her neck. "No, that's not—" "It's true, Mommy." Emma turned from the window. Her eyes were still wrong, too dark, too deep, but her voice was her daughter's, scared, small. "They showed me everything. They've been making our family better, stronger, each generation closer to what they need." "Need for what?" "A bridge." Emma's face twisted with something between fear and wonder. "They can't stay here. This place hurts them. The air is wrong. The gravity is wrong. They can only come through for a few hours at a time, but if they had someone who was both human enough to survive here, but changed enough to survive there." "A hybrid," Marcus said. "A door." Emma shook her head. "I'm supposed to be a door. When I'm ready, they can use me to come through whenever they want, as many as they want, forever." The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. Not an abduction, an invasion, a slow-motion colonization spanning decades, hidden in a single family's DNA. "But you're not ready," he said. "That's why they keep coming back. They're still preparing you." "One more treatment." Emma's lower lip trembled. "At 3 a.m. Then I'll be complete. Then I won't be me anymore." Sarah fell to her knees and pulled her daughter into her arms. "No, no, I won't let them take you." "You can't stop them, Mommy. No one can. They're too old, too smart. They've been doing this on 100 worlds. Earth is just—" The lights in the room flickered. Not the electric lights. Those had been dead since the first attack. The moonlight itself seemed to stutter, as if something was passing between the Earth and its satellite. Marcus checked his watch. 1:15 a.m. Less than 2 hours. "The doctor, Voss, you said he's been studying them for 40 years. Does he know how to stop them?" "He said he's been preparing, building something. A weapon, I think. Then we need to get to him. They're outside. They're everywhere." Marcus moved to the window, staying to the side. The cornfield was alive now. Blue lights drifted between the stalks, dozens of them,
moving in patterns that suggested intelligence, organization. They were gathering. There has to be another way. He scanned the farmhouse's surroundings. Cornfield to the east, cornfield to the west, the long gravel driveway leading to the main road where his ruined cruiser sat, and to the north, barely visible in the moonlight, the dark line of the woods. Those trees, where do they lead? Brennan's old property. It's been abandoned for years. The house burned down in the 70s. Is that where Voss lives? Near there, about half a mile past the property line. Half a mile through dark woods while reality-bending entities hunted them. Terrible odds, but staying here meant certain capture. Can Emma walk? I think so. I feel stronger when they're close. Emma pulled back from her mother. They're feeding me energy, getting me ready. Then we use that. We move fast, stay in the trees, and pray this doctor has something that can help. A boom from downstairs, the front door splintering. They're inside, Sarah breathed. Window, now! Marcus grabbed Emma and lifted her to the sill. The drop to the roof of the porch below was maybe 8 feet, survivable. Jump to the roof, then slide down the support column. Head for the trees, and don't stop until you reach the woods. Emma nodded. Her eyes had cleared slightly. Still too dark, but focused, determined. She jumped. Marcus helped Sarah through next. She landed awkwardly, but recovered, reaching up for her daughter. He was halfway out the window when the bedroom door exploded inward. The dresser shattered into splinters. Blue light flooded the room, and through the doorway came something that stopped his heart. It was Reyes, or what remained of her. The human disguise was gone. Her skin had sloughed away to reveal gray musculature beneath, but the transformation was incomplete. Half her face was still human, one eye brown, one eye that endless black. She moved on limbs that bent in too many directions. "We gave you a chance," she said with two voices, one human, one that scraped like metal on glass. "Now you're just interference." Marcus raised his weapon, empty. He'd fired every round. "Run!" he screamed out the window. The thing lunged. He threw himself backward, falling through the window, hitting the porch roof hard enough to crack ribs. Pain exploded through his chest, but he was rolling, sliding, dropping to the ground before his mind caught up. Sarah grabbed his arm. Emma grabbed his hand. They ran. The cornfield was wrong. The lights were wrong. Behind them, that hybrid thing shrieked with two voices, and all around them the stalks began to bend and twist, reaching for them like grasping fingers. But ahead, the woods waited. Dark, dense, maybe, possibly, safe. They hit the tree line at a full sprint, crashing through underbrush, branches whipping their faces. The blue lights faltered at the edge of the forest, hovering uncertainly. Something about the woods stopped them. "They don't like it here," Emma panted. "The trees, they're too old, too connected. It confuses their senses." Marcus didn't question it. He just ran. They found the path by accident, an overgrown trail that might have been a logging road. It led deeper into the woods, away from the lights, away from the cornfield. Then a light appeared ahead, warm, yellow, human. A lantern, hanging from the porch of what looked like a bunker built into the side of a hill. A man stood beneath it, ancient and wild-eyed. "I've been waiting for you," Dr. Leonard Voss said. "They're coming, aren't they?" "Yes," Marcus gasped. Voss looked at Emma, at the marks on her arm, at the darkness in her eyes. "Then we don't have much time." He stepped aside, revealing a heavy steel door set into the hillside. "Come inside. I have something to show you."
The bunker smelled like copper and ozone. Voss led them down a narrow concrete staircase into a space that shouldn't exist beneath rural Nebraska. The walls were lined with monitors, most displaying static, a few showing grainy footage of the surrounding woods. Banks of equipment hummed with power. Generators, Marcus realized. The old man had built himself a fortress off the grid. "How long have you been preparing for this?" Sarah asked. 43 years. Voss moved to a workbench covered in strange devices. "Since they took me in 1981. I was an Air Force physician stationed at Uffit. They kept me for 6 days. When I came back, I remembered everything." "They usually wipe memories," Emma said quietly. Voss turned to look at her with something like recognition. "Yes, they do. But sometimes the procedure fails. Sometimes the subject is incompatible." He tapped his temple. "Brain damage from a childhood accident. The scar tissue disrupted their technology. I remembered every moment, every procedure, every face." He pulled a tarp off something in the corner. It was a chair, metal frame, leather straps, surrounded by a massive copper ring connected to a massive battery array. Above it hung a helmet bristling with electrodes and crystalline components that didn't look manufactured. "What is that?" Marcus asked. "Their technology, reverse engineered over 40 decades. Voss ran his hand along the copper ring. "When they take someone, they establish a neural link. It's how they communicate, how they control, how they call their subjects home. This device can sever that link." Sarah stepped forward. "It can save Emma?" "It can try." Voss's face was grim. "The procedure is dangerous. The link is deeply embedded, part of her neural architecture now. Cutting it could cause brain damage, seizures, death. But it might work. It's the only thing that might work." Marcus checked his watch. 1:47 a.m. "How long does the procedure take?" 20 minutes, maybe 30. "We have just over an hour until they come for her." "Then we need to start now." Voss began powering up the equipment. Lights flickered across the bunker as the generators strained. "Put the girl in the chair." Emma didn't resist as Sarah guided her to the metal seat. Her eyes were distant again, that darkness creeping back in. "They know where I am," she said softly. "They always know." "This room is shielded." Voss strapped her wrists to the armrests. "Copper-lined walls, Faraday cage. It blocks their signal." "Nothing blocks them forever." Marcus moved to the monitors, scanning the static-filled screens. One showed the bunker's entrance, dark trees, the lanterns still burning. Empty, for now. "How did you build all this?" Marcus asked. "Government pension, obsession, 30 years of salvaging equipment." Voss lowered the helmet onto Emma's head. "I've been waiting for this moment since 1981. They took something from me that night. Someone." "Who?" "My daughter." The old man's voice cracked. "She was 6 years old. They brought her back 3 days later, but she wasn't. She was different, changed. She walked into the cornfield on her 18th birthday and never came back." Sarah made a small, wounded sound. "I've spent every day since then learning how to fight them." Voss flipped switches on the control panel. "This is my chance to finally..." The lights went out. All of them. Generators, monitors, equipment. The bunker plunged into absolute darkness. "No." Voss's voice was panicked. "No, that's impossible. The shielding." A sound from above, metal groaning, the steel door being forced open. Marcus grabbed his flashlight. "Dead, of course." "They're here," Emma said calmly. "They're always everywhere." Blue light began seeping down the staircase. "Is there another way out?" Marcus demanded. "A tunnel, emergency exit. But the girl, the procedure. There's no time." Voss hesitated for one agonizing second. Then he was moving, pulling Emma from the chair, pushing through the darkness towards the back of the bunker. "This way, stay close." They stumbled through the dark, hands on walls, following Voss's shuffling footsteps. Behind them, the blue light grew brighter. Marcus could hear them now, those clicking communications, that scraping tone that bypassed ears and burrowed directly into the brain. "Come home, come home. The door must open." "Don't listen," he growled. "Keep moving." A metal hatch. Voss hauled it open, revealing a narrow tunnel carved through earth and stone. "Quarter mile. Leads to the old Brennan cellar." They crawled. The tunnel was barely wide enough for shoulders, pitch black, the air thick with the smell of soil. Marcus brought up the rear, pulling the hatch shut behind them. It wouldn't hold. He knew it wouldn't hold. The crawl took forever. His cracked ribs screamed with every movement. Ahead, I could hear Sarah's ragged breathing, Emma's occasional whimper, Voss's labored grunts. Then, fresh air, moonlight, an opening. They emerged in the ruins of a stone foundation, the Brennan farmhouse long since collapsed. Around them, the woods stood silent. Too silent. Marcus pulled himself out of the tunnel and immediately knew something was wrong. The trees were bent, all of them, leaning towards the center of the ruins, towards them. "They herded us here," Sarah whispered. She was right. The woods, the bunker, the tunnel, they'd been funneled like cattle through a chute. Blue lights rose from the tree line, dozens of them. They moved in perfect synchronization, forming a ring around the ruins. And in the center of that ring, waiting for them with infinite patience, stood the creatures,
5 of them. 6, more emerging from the shadows every second. Voss stepped forward, pulling something from his coat, a device, small, cylindrical, covered with those same crystalline components as the helmet. "Get behind me." "What is that?" Marcus asked. "Last resort. Concentrated electromagnetic pulse, enough to disrupt their physical manifestation for, how long? Minutes, maybe less. That's not enough time to... It's enough time for you to run." Voss looked at Emma. "The link can still be broken, not with my machine, but with distance. They can only maintain full control within a certain range. Get her far enough away, past the county line, and she might be able to fight them." "The county line is 15 miles from here." "Then you'd better run fast." The creatures began to advance, that clicking sound intensifying, pressing against Marcus's skull. Voss activated the device. Light exploded, not blue but white, searing, painful. The creatures shrieked with voices that existed in frequencies human ears weren't designed to process. Their forms flickered, destabilized. "Go!" Marcus grabbed Emma. Sarah grabbed Marcus. They ran. Behind them, Voss kept walking towards the creatures, the device blazing in his hand. Marcus heard him screaming, words of rage and grief and 40 years of impotent fury finally finding expression. Then the light died. The screaming stopped. Marcus didn't look back. They hit the woods at full sprint, branches tearing at their clothes, roots grabbing at their feet. The moonlight barely penetrated the canopy, but Marcus didn't slow down. The county line, 15 miles. They had maybe an hour, and somewhere behind them, in the darkness between the trees, the blue lights began to move again.
They ran until Sarah collapsed. It happened without warning. One moment she was keeping pace, the next she was face down in the dead leaves, gasping for air that wouldn't come. "Mom!" Emma dropped beside her. Marcus skidded to a stop, scanning the darkness behind them. The blue lights were distant now, flickering between the trees maybe a quarter-mile back. They'd bought time. Not enough, but some. "Get up!" He hauled Sarah to her feet. "We can't stop." "I can't." She clutched her chest. "Something's wrong. My heart." Emma touched her mother's hand and went pale. "They're calling her too." "What?" "The implant in her head. They're using it." Emma's voice trembled. "They're making her body shut down, punishing her for running." Sarah's legs buckled again. Her lips were turning blue. Marcus caught her before she hit the ground. Her pulse was erratic, racing, then slowing, then racing again. Whatever those things had put in her skull, they were using it to kill her. "Can you stop it?" he asked Emma. "I don't know how." "You're connected to them. Use it. If I reach out, they'll find us faster. She's dying." Emma closed her eyes, her face twisted with concentration. The darkness in her pupils seemed to deepen, swirling like ink in water. Sarah gasped. Her heartbeat steadied. Color returned to her face. "I blocked it," Emma whispered, "but they felt me. They're coming faster now." Marcus checked behind them. The lights were closer, much closer, moving through the trees with purpose. "Can you walk?" he asked Sarah. She nodded weakly. They moved, slower now. Sarah leaning on Marcus, Emma leading the way with some instinct he didn't understand. "How far to the county line?" "I don't know." Marcus tried to orient himself by the stars, but the canopy was too thick. "Maybe 10 miles, maybe more." "We won't make it." "We have to try." "No!" Emma stopped. "You don't understand. At 3 a.m., it won't matter how far we are. When the door opens fully, they can reach me anywhere. The only thing that was protecting me was proximity. They need me close to complete the process. But once it starts, then what?" The girl turned to face him. In the darkness, her eyes held depths that shouldn't exist in a 9-year-old. "I have to die." Sarah made a sound like a wounded animal. "That's not an option," Marcus said. "If I die before 3 a.m., the door can't open. The bloodline ends. They'd have to start over. Another 70 years, another family. One life to save everyone. That's fair, isn't it?" "You're 9 years old. Nothing about this is fair." "Deputy Cole," Emma stepped closer. "I can feel them inside me. Every second there's more of them and less of me. When the hour comes, I won't fight it. I won't be able to. The girl you're trying to save will already be gone." Marcus thought about his own daughter, 16 now, living with her mother in Chicago. He'd missed her last 3 birthdays, hadn't called in months. He told himself it was the job, the distance, the complicated logistics of shared custody. But really, he'd just been afraid. Afraid of connection, afraid of loss. "I'm not letting a child die on my watch." "Then everyone dies on your watch." Emma's composure cracked. A tear slid down her cheek. "I don't want to be a door. I don't want to let them in. Please." Sarah grabbed her daughter and held her tight. "No, there has to be another way. Voss said distance could break the link. But Voss is dead. His machine is destroyed. The county line isn't far enough." Emma pulled back to look at her mother. "Mom, you know what I'm saying is true. You felt them your whole life. The dreams, the marks, the sense that something was coming. I won't lose you. You already have." The words hung in the cold air. Marcus's mind raced. Distance wasn't enough. Technology was destroyed. The girl was willing to die to stop them. There had to be something else. "The link," he said slowly. "It goes both ways, doesn't it?" Emma frowned. "What do you mean?" "You can feel them. They can feel you. It's a connection." He grabbed her shoulders. "What if you use that connection against them?" "I don't understand. You said they need you close to complete the process, that you're the door, but a door opens both ways." Marcus's heart was pounding. "What if you opened the door early, before they're ready? What if you flooded the connection with everything human in you?" Sarah looked at him like he was insane. "You want her to let them in?" "I want her to drown them. Voss said they can't survive here long. Wrong air, wrong gravity. They can only manifest for hours at a time. What keeps them stable is the controlled connection, the gradual process. But if Emma ripped that door wide open before 3 a.m., the connection would be unstable," Emma said slowly. "They'd be pulled through before their forms could solidify. And then they'd burn like tissue paper in a fire." She paused. "But so would I. You don't know that. Neither do I." The blue lights were visible through the trees now, close, so close. That clicking sound filled the air, pressing against their skulls. "Come home. The hour approaches. The door will open." Emma looked at the approaching lights, at her mother, at Marcus. "If I do this wrong, I become the weapon that destroys everything. If you do nothing, you become the weapon anyway. Then you need to promise me something." She gripped his hand with surprising strength. "If it goes wrong, if I start to change and can't stop, you end it, whatever it takes." Marcus thought about his empty gun, his cracked ribs, his useless flashlight. "I promise." Emma closed her eyes and opened herself to the connection. The effect was immediate. The blue light surged towards them, no longer cautious, no longer patient. The clicking became a roar. The trees themselves seemed to bend inward, but Emma stood firm. Marcus watched the girl begin to glow, not blue, but white, a pure, clean light that pushed back against the approaching darkness. Her mouth opened in a silent scream. The creatures burst from the tree line, all of them, dozens, maybe hundreds, gray forms flickering and unstable, reaching for the girl with those impossible fingers, and Emma pulled.
The world turned inside out. Marcus felt reality twist around him like wet cloth being wrung dry. Colors inverted, sound became texture. The forest floor tilted 90 degrees, and for one endless moment, he was falling sideways into a sky that had too many stars. Then, Emma screamed, not with fear, with fury. The white light pouring from her body intensified, blazing through the darkness like a newborn sun. Marcus shielded his eyes and saw the creatures, those ancient, patient, terrible things, being dragged toward her against their will. Their clicking became shrieking, their controlled movements became spastic, desperate. They clawed at trees, at earth, at each other, trying to resist the pull of the connection they had so carefully cultivated. But Emma was stronger. 70 years of refinement, 3 generations of careful breeding, they had made her to be the perfect door. And now, that door was swallowing them whole. The first creature touched the light and came apart. Not violently, almost gently. Its gray form unraveled like smoke in a strong wind, dispersing into particles that glittered briefly before winking out of existence. Another followed, then another. They tried to flee. Some made it to the tree line before the pull became too strong.
Others simply froze, accepting their fate with that same alien stillness Marcus had seen at Emma's window. But most fought. They screamed in frequencies that made his teeth rattle and his vision blur. They reached for Emma with those long fingers, trying to complete the ritual early, to seize control of the door before it consumed them. Sarah threw herself between the creatures and her daughter. "Stay back!" A gray hand caught her shoulder. She cried out as the cold sank into her flesh, that same killing cold Marcus had felt when the Reyes thing had grabbed him. But Emma's light touched the creature, and it released Sarah with a shriek. Its arm dissolved from the elbow down. "Mom!" Emma's voice was layered now, her own small voice and something vast beneath it. "Mom, I need you to run. I'm not leaving you. The light is growing. I can't control it much longer." Tears streamed down Emma's glowing cheeks. "If you're too close when it peaks." Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm. "She's right. We have to move." "No! She's saving us. Let her save us." The light was unbearable now. The remaining creatures had stopped fighting. They simply hung in the air, frozen, waiting to be unmade. Their black eyes fixed on Emma with something that might have been awe or recognition. "You were meant for this," one of them said. Its voice was different from the others, older, more resonant. "But not like this. Never like this." "I know." Emma smiled through her tears. "I was meant to be your door, your bridge, your weapon." The light pulsed brighter. "But I'm also my mother's daughter, my grandmother's granddaughter. I'm human, and humans don't like being used." She raised her hands. "Go home." The light exploded outward. Marcus threw himself over Sarah, pressing them both into the earth as a wave of pure white energy rolled across the forest. It passed through them like worn water, painless, almost pleasant. But the creatures weren't so lucky. Their shrieks rose to a crescendo, then cut off abruptly. When Marcus raised his head, the forest was empty. No gray figures, no blue lights, no clicking sounds pressing against his skull. Just trees and moonlight and silence. Real silence this time, the natural quiet of a forest at night. "Emma?" Sarah scrambled to her feet. The girl lay in a small crater of scorched earth, her clothes smoking but intact. The light was gone. Her eyes were closed. Sarah reached her first, gathering her daughter into her arms. "Baby, Emma, please, please wake up!" Marcus limped toward them, ribs screaming, every muscle burning. He'd seen a lot of death in 23 years. He knew what it looked like. This wasn't it. "She's breathing," he said. Emma's chest rose and fell in steady rhythm, normal rhythm, the rhythm of a sleeping child, not a puppet or a door. Sarah sobbed with relief. Marcus checked his watch. The display flickered, then stabilized. 3:17 a.m. They'd passed the hour. The door had closed, but on their terms, not the creatures'. "We need to get her to a hospital." I pulled out my phone. The screen lit up, 2 bars of signal. "I'll call for extraction." "Will they believe us?" Marcus looked around a scorched clearing, the bent trees slowly straightening, the burn marks already fading, as if the forest itself was forgetting what had happened. "No," he said honestly. "That's a problem for tomorrow." He made the call. 3 weeks later, Marcus sat in his patrol car outside the Price farmhouse, watching the moving truck pull away. Sarah had sold the property to a development company. She and Emma were relocating to Arizona, where Sarah's sister lived. Fresh start, new life, far from Nebraska and cornfields and memories that would never fully heal. Emma emerged from the house carrying a cardboard box. She spotted his cruiser and leaned over, leaning against his window. "You didn't have to come." "Wanted to see you off." He studied her face. She looked older somehow. Not physically, she was still 9 years old, but something behind her eyes had matured. "How are you feeling?" "Different." She considered the word. "Emptier, but in a good way. Like something that was always pressing against the inside of my skull finally stopped." "The connection's really gone?" "I think so. The doctors can't find anything wrong with me. No marks, no implants, nothing." She paused. "They took Mom's implant too. When the door opened, it must have burned out everything they'd left behind." Marcus nodded. He'd been checked as well. MRI, CT scan, the works. Clean.
Whatever those things had been planning, Emma had ended it completely. "What about you?" Emma asked. "What happens now?" "Same thing that always happens. Write my reports, answer questions, get called crazy by my superiors." He shrugged. "I've been thinking about retiring, maybe moving somewhere with fewer cornfields." Emma smiled. It was the first genuine smile he'd seen from Emma. "Thank you," she said, "for not giving up, for believing me when I said I could fight them." "You're the one who did the fighting." "But you gave me the idea." She straightened, hugging her box. "You told me a door opens both ways. I never would have thought of that on my own." "Just seemed logical." "Logical?" She laughed softly. "Deputy Cole, I don't think logic had anything to do with any of this." Sarah appeared on the porch, waving for Emma to hurry. "I should go." Emma stepped back from the car. "I might see you again someday, when I'm older, when all this feels like a dream instead of a memory." "I'd like that." She walked toward her mother, small and fragile and impossibly brave. Marcus watched until they disappeared into their car, until the car pulled away down the gravel drive, until the dust settled and the morning sun climbed higher and the farmhouse stood empty and silent. Then he started his engine and drove away from the cornfields. In his rearview mirror, the stalks stood straight and still. Just corn, just a field, just Nebraska in the early autumn light. But sometimes, late at night, when the radio crackled with static and the stars seemed too bright and too numerous, he still found himself checking the sky, just in case.